We are the poet, the pastor, and the pundit, opining each week on the intersections of faith and politics. We come to you from First Congregational United Church of Christ in DeKalb, Illinois. We hope you enjoy what you hear. Thank you for listening.
Okay.
Welcome. We are the poet, the pastor, and the pundit podcast, opining as we are wont to do on the intersections of faith and politics. And we're glad you've come to listen to us this week. I'm going to start with a question for both of you. Growing up, who was your role model? Who did you want to emulate?
My mother.
Tell me more about that. Tell us more about that.
She was an amazing person. She was her very proper self, wife of a local such and such. He was an osteopath, but he also was involved in city politics, and she did exactly what she was supposed to do. But she used to get up at 4:30 in the morning and go to her own space and paint. She was an artist. But it was at a time when women didn't just be who they were. They had to kind of feel their way through things and be the correct whatever. But I got up early one day when I was a kid, and I found her painting and drawing and working. It was like 5 in the morning, and that was the only time she had to do her work. And it made a huge impression on me, which I didn't realize until much later. But there she was, despite all the jobs she had, the 5 kids, the husband, but she found time to do her heart work, and that made a huge impression on me.
And you and your siblings put together her artwork in a coffee table book, yes?
A book, yes, we did. It took us a year. She had 5 kids. I'm number 2 of the 5. And my brother and I, he's older, made this book. We hired somebody to help us. And it meant everything to us because it was her, and we had her with us. It was a real labor of love, and that has to go straight or off.
We'll put it down for now.
Okay.
Hearing this reminds me, my grandmother, she was 84, 85 when she died. Very quiet, very Southern, demure, rarely heard from. Usually only when my grandfather gave her permission to speak.
Oh dear.
Yep. Ooh.
Yep. I'm diverging a little bit here, but the very first dinner that my mom and dad had with both of their parents together was in the early 1960s. All right. And Kennedy was running for office for the first time. And at some point, the question was put to the 2 sets of parents, who are you voting for? And my mom's parents both said who they were voting for. And when my dad's parents went to answer, my grandfather said, this is who I'm voting for. She will vote for who I tell her to vote for.
Yeah.
This was the grandmother. We didn't learn till after she died that she painted beautiful art. And we went through and there were 8 paintings that we found still extant. And there were 7 grandkids. Each of us got one, and then her surviving child got one. So that's what your story. But what an inspiration for you.
Yes.
And your role model.
Mine is so typically boomer girl, I think. My biggest, who I envied the most, was my older brother. He's 3 or 4 years older than me. And he had blonde hair and brown eyes, and he was just the golden child. Even I loved him as the golden child. And he helped my mom in the garden pick up big rocks, big boulders. And I wanted to be a boy so that I could pick up big boulders like my brother. So when he didn't have his football gear on, I put on his helmet and his shoulder pads back in the day. Oh my God. And then did the girly work of setting the table as my mother told me to do. But honestly, if there was a hero of my childhood, it was my big brother.
Wow.
I don't think he knows that, but that's the truth.
Nice.
That's nice. My hero and role model from my early days was Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
And I remember as a child being given books on baseball and stories about the early years of baseball and the heroes. And at some point, I read the story of Jackie Robinson and his courage and what he did, not just to change baseball,
Yes.
but open America up to the changes
Yes.
that would eventually come. And that courage, I wanted to be that brave.
Yes.
I wanted to be that courageous.
He was a hero.
Yeah, he was.
Is.
And speaking of brave, courageous heroes, show everybody your shirt.
Yes.
This week's shirt features the women who are helping us save democracy. Do you want to read it? Because I can't read it from here.
Sure. Turn just to the, yeah. I love it. Harriet led so Rosa could sit, so Ruby could walk, so Michelle could inspire, so Kamala could run, so Katanji could rule.
Yay.
Yes.
Who is Katanji?
Ketanji Brown is a Supreme Court Justice.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. She's not as well known. She hasn't been in office that long.
Right.
But she's brilliant.
She's brilliant.
Yes.
And in spite of what our government is trying to tell us, she is not a DEI hire.
She's so superior. When you put her credentials, her background against many of the others,
Yes.
hers is
No comparison.
superior to them
Yeah.
by many degrees.
Yes.
And if we're doing a comparison, how would you compare Kamala's history and experience to the current occupant of the White House?
Oy, oy, oy.
I don't know if there can be a comparison. It's like compare and contrast, perhaps, maybe contrast. I don't think that I can speak adequately on record about what I think of the current office holder.
A 34-time convicted felon.
34.
Yes, including sexual assault.
Yes.
He's been
Bankrupt many times.
many times. He's had a court rule that he was fraudulent in terms of universities that he ran, in terms of charities that he defrauded,
Right.
and avoided the draft in order not to have to serve his country. Ironic that he's now the commander-in-chief, head of the military. And Kamala was a law degree graduate, served as a attorney general for the state of California, served as a U.S. senator from the state of California.
Yes.
Her qualifications were impeccable.
Yes. Yes.
And yet,
Yeah.
And we had a choice to make, and that is a choice that the majority, we think, of voting adults made.
so let's put that. This is a podcast on the intersection of faith and politics. What has your faith led you to believe that affect the choices that you make in the political arena? What are some of the things that you carry with you from your faith that lead you to make some of the statements that you make publicly about our political worldview?
What a good question. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, what do you see in Jesus, or what do you hear in the gospel that affects how you present yourself publicly and politically.
Well, one of the things that has struck me as I've come to learn more about Jesus, the person, is how thoroughly he believed what he believed and how completely he was willing to throw himself into it, even if it meant being hated, even if it meant physically hurting. He did it anyway because he felt so strongly. And that's courage.
You know, that kind of courage inspires me. And we just talked about Jackie Robinson demonstrated that courage. On the day of my ordination, I had a Black activist preacher deliver a sermon on this passage
Really?
from the gospel, which was, if they hate you, know they hated me first. And it was his way of saying that if you walk this pathway committed to the work of justice, like the Jesus you just described did, then the world is not just going to hate you, they're going to crucify you.
Exactly.
And that was his way of saying, don't spend your life as a minister calculating what the cost of your commitments to justice are. You do what's right. And if the world hates you for it, well, they hated Jesus for it. That's the Jesus you were describing there.
That's wonderful.
It really is.
And there we are every day.
Showing up.
Yep.
I think what most offends me about the current administration and the way they are behaving is that the country under Trump has seemed to me to have lost the generosity of spirit that our country was founded on. It was not founded on Christianity, but our currency says, in God we trust. And I believe that trust actually requires us to share.
Yes.
Because otherwise we're holding on to things that we would feel compelled to do if we didn't have that trust. So what most offends me is that lack of generosity of spirit, that holding on to things, that claiming and calling to ourselves that the great abundance we have should be shared. So that's where my intersection with faith and politics comes into play.
And at the end of the We the People, it's with liberty and justice for all.
Oh. Yeah. The Jesus I see described in the Gospels was a liberty and justice for all kind of presence.
And really, it can't be any other way. If it's not for all, then we've segmented the population and then we've divided it into us and them. And that was never the intention.
I got into a social media debate with a Christian minister.
Well,
I'm using the word Christian loosely. Who wanted to argue after the shooting at the Catholic Church last week that we should amend the Constitution so that anybody who identifies as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer, or trans, not be given access to guns. This is literally saying that the Constitution should clarify which of its citizens it will apply to. Why? Because after 2 decades and thousands of mass shootings, a trans person picked up a gun. There was not this outcry when white young men were shooting up our children in schools. So this liberty and justice for all is so critical.
Boy,
we always when we're so cocksure of our Christianity or whatever belief we hold that we know and they are wrong is just crippling us.
Mhm.
And I was afraid that a single, possibly, allegedly trans person committed this atrocity. I don't know the statistics, but I'm guessing there are thousands and thousands of trans people worldwide who have never picked up a gun and massacred innocent children while they were in school or elsewhere. So to say that is just a cover for their own selfishness for wanting to hold on to their weapons.
I think we should dig deeper and find out if they're right-handed or left-handed.
Oh,
I think we should figure out what color their hair is. And anybody who has the same hair color, anybody who has the same handedness.
They could be suspect. And how about the
And they
parents
should-
who put a gun into their juvenile children's hands? I mean, who's culpable there?
Yeah.
It's the guns.
So, yes. I'm going to go back to the question we got started on. And where does our faith, how does our faith inform our politics in this intersection of faith and politics? And I've come to calling myself a theological minimalist.
Okay.
I grew up with a whole list of doctrines and beliefs that I was compelled to accept.
Oh, yes.
Whether A, I believed them, or B, they made any logical sense to me whatsoever. And in that particular brand of faith, your salvation was dependent upon your adherence to those doctrines, dogmas, and beliefs. And I can remember through 8 years of seminary in that tradition, arguing with my classmates about the finer points of those details and wanting to make sure we got them right, lest we jeopardize our eternity.
Right.
Oh, that's a
And-
heavy one.
And at the end of all of that, I'm like, I'm a theological minimalist. I want my faith to do only one thing, and that's to engender love.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
And any religion or faith or secular belief that compels or incentivizes or encourages love is all I'm interested in. And I have one additional caveat to that. And I think I can do that and still claim my bona fides as a theological minimalist.
Okay.
And that is, it must be a brand of love that justice is the outcome of it.
Yes.
Commitments to justice. Because I don't believe you can authentically say to somebody, I love you, but I'm willing to tolerate the injustice perpetrated against you.
Right.
So
Good.
that's where my faith and politics intersect. And so when I look at a candidate, whether we're talking about Kamala, whether we're talking about Donald Trump, my question is how much of who they are and what they're asking their government to do feels loving to me.
Yes.
That wasn't a hard decision for me in this last presidential election.
Gee, really.
But the thing is, there must be a huge number of people who love to hate, who
Yes.
are inspired by hating others and demeaning others and making fun of them and giving them stupid nicknames that is as juvenile as second grade. And I taught second grade. They were smarter. But they're getting their energy from hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think love is so much more compelling.
It is.
But
But
I think because of him, we're almost afraid to show it because right now hatred seems stronger.
It has a power that is undeniable. And a lot of people are attracted to that, just the power of it. And I think that's one of the things that we're up against.
it validates your fears
Yes.
when a political figure points to a group that you don't like and refers to that group as them.
Exactly.
And here's the thing about fear. Once you trigger it, it's hard to come back to higher order thinking.
Yes.
Rational, thoughtful, loving, kind, generous
Yes.
spirit.
Yes.
Fear has the power to override all of that. And when politics is the art of brokering hatred and
Yes.
fear of the other,
Yeah.
it often wins.
Yep.
Temporarily. I have to.
Yeah.
What do I believe? I believe that love will win out in the
Yes.
end. And I have to believe that this is a temporary tempering of us or clarifying for us. If we say we love, will we stop an ICE agent from grabbing a woman away from her children and throwing that woman into a van? Will we do something?
Will
Yes.
we do something?
Will we have the courage?
And if not,
And
what
will
is
we act
love?
from love?
Really.
What is incumbent upon us, each individual right now? And that's staggering, really, because we've
It
never
is.
had to do it before.
Right. And we're talking from the point of view of comfortable, politically protected,
Privileged.
absolutely privileged,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
everything. And why aren't, in that way of looking at it, how come we're bothered? Or maybe it's better to say, how come we don't know what to do with the power that we've got?
That's a good one,
Because there's
because
work to be done.
we, the people,
Yes.
has got to be seen as an individual effort.
Yes.
It's not you, we. It's me.
Me, we.
We.
I like
We.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we close, and I'm going to ask you each for your final thought in a moment, but I did want to bring up something that happened this week. None other than Mitch McConnell
What?
this week said that we're looking a lot like 1930s Germany,
Oh, yeah.
and that the Republic has not been so endangered since the Second World War. That's from Mitch McConnell.
Good Lord.
I know.
I think he must see the lights ahead.
I don't know. He's the one single-handedly responsible for giving us the Supreme Court we have.
Yes, exactly.
But
yes, exactly.
That's astonishing to hear.
it is. It is. So I'm going to ask for your last word. Do you have a last word for us, Sharon?
Well, I'm still on We the People, and I'm trying to enact it in my life.
Yeah.
There is a peace rally at the corner, the clock tower, and it's called the Peace Corner in DeKalb, the one with
Yes.
Donna the tank in the middle of the
Right.
Yeah, right.
square.
Military tank,
Military tank.
on Peace Corner.
On Peace Corner. And you just have to love
Really.
the contradictory nature of that. But
Yeah, the
anyway,
peace
there are 3 men that have been out there with their peace signs, make peace, make love, not war, whatever.
Yeah.
These signs are as old as they are, and they've been out there for almost 20 years. And my neighbor and I have joined them, and all we're standing for is peace.
Yes.
No other issue, not against Trump or pro this, just peace.
We the
Exactly.
people.
We the people, and I'm so glad that we are a Just Peace church.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Do you have a closing word?
With liberty and justice for all.
Beautiful. Well, we are the poet, the pastor, and the pundit, opining on the intersection of faith and politics. And my last word actually came earlier from Sharon. Love wins. Thank you for listening. That was our podcast this week. Be sure to tune in next week for another edition of The Poet, the Pastor, and the Pundit, opining on the intersections of faith and politics. Thank you for listening.